The UPSC CSE arena is an ever-evolving space where staying up to date becomes as crucial as maintaining a thorough preparation. With strategic planning and holistic coverage for exam syllabus, Vision IS Delhi presents GS Foundation course. Avail analysis and integration of current affairs with GS syllabus. All India test series with an innovative assessment system, inculcating post-test analysis, discussion, all India ranking, and more. Explore the holistic learning modules intrinsically designed for the ideal aspirant.
So, good afternoon to all of you. So, today, as part of our master classes, we will be discussing three important topics related to Indian polity, which are highly dynamic, which are highly relevant, which are mostly current oriented. So, what are those topics? First one we will be discussing about is first one we'll be discussing about is these urban local self-governments. What are the problems with institutions and finances with regard to these urban local bodies? A very important topic. Last year also it was asked in our polity for 15 marks. Second topic we will be discussing is this impact of coalition governments. Impact of coalition governments on our administration. How these coalition governments are impacting our administration, because we have after a long period of time, after 10 years, we have these coalition governments. And the third topic is Niti Ayog. We'll be talking about this Niti Ayog. The questions about Niti Ayog can be asked both in our polity as well as economy papers. In fact, it was asked in our Indian economy for 15 marks also. So these are all the topics that we will be discussing. Let us start with these urban local bodies. So what exactly is the problem? What could be the solutions? And why the solutions have not been implemented? And ultimately what should be done is what we are going to discuss. Why this topic is very important? As you can see here, Delhi right now is experiencing one of the worst kinds of climate emergencies. AQI levels are almost extremely severe to hazardous. But who is responsible? At the end of the day, who is responsible? Right? Similarly, take almost all urban mega cities in India. If you look at their management, their administration, it is pathetic. On one hand, you have urban floods. On the other hand, you have problems related to law and order. On the other hand, traffic congestion, then problems related to pollution, then collapse of basic infrastructure. So what is the solution to all these problems? And why, in the first place, this urban development can be very important? We will look at all of them. We will start with why this urbanization and urban development is important in the present day context. This is what we will start with. Then we will look at this 74th Amendment, whose basic objective is to provide urban local bodies with autonomy and independence. Then we will look at what are the reasons for failure of this 74th Amendment. And then what are the problems of these urban bodies in terms of two things: institutions and finances. Institutions and finances. What are the problems of urban bodies in terms of institutions and finances? And finally, what could be the solutions? What could be the solutions? Please remember, this topic is there not only in your polity, it is there in all your 4 papers of general studies. In paper 1, it is there as part of social issues. Including this year, the questions were asked about urbanization and urban pollution. It is there in our paper 2 as part of polity, 74th Amendment. In paper 3, it is there as part of disaster management, urban floods. This year the question was asked. In paper 4, it is also there as part of ethics case studies. So when we are discussing this topic, it is important from all your 4 papers of general studies. Let us look at all of them. Starting with the first one, why this urban development becomes important? Why it becomes very important? As all of us know, in 1991, India had opted for what is called LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization, to overcome the financial crisis that the country was having at that point of time. And how do we measure the success of globalization? How do we measure the success of globalization, whether it is successful or not? We will measure the success of globalization in terms of 2 things. Please remember, whenever you are studying any topic, you should always study from all dimensions: economic dimension, political dimension, administrative dimension, social and cultural dimension, environmental dimension, legal dimension. And UPSC is expecting you to write answers by integrating all these dimensions. So coming back here, we will measure the success of globalization in terms of 2 things: your ability to attract foreign investment, FDI, foreign direct investment. Second, your ability to improve your exports. These 2 things will give you, a proper idea regarding whether globalization has become successful or not in your country. First one is FDI, second one is exports. Now, if foreign investment is coming, these foreign investment proposals are given approval by the union government. But where do they come? They come exactly at the local level. That means they will be starting their industries, they will be starting their factories in urban areas. Urban areas. So when do they come and invest in your urban areas? Only when you have proper infrastructure. When you have proper infrastructure, in the form of both the physical infrastructure and social infrastructure. Physical infrastructure in the form of roads, in the form of electricity, in the form of drinking water, in the form of sanitation, in the form of transportation and communication. Social infrastructure in the form of having a skilled personnel, right? That is where urban development becomes important. Second one is exports. Again, when do you increase your exports? when your industries are producing quality products. And where do you find most of these industries? In urban areas. That is the reason why urbanization is necessary for the success of globalization. Success of globalization. And what did we do? For a long period of time, we have opted for what is called a centralized top-down approach to development. Centralized top-down approach to development. From the first 5-year plan 1951 till 1990, 8th 5-year plan. And this kind of development process has been a failure, as can be seen through the economic crisis that we have faced. That is the reason why the country has opted for what is called democratic decentralization. Democratic decentralization in the form of 73rd and 74th amendments. In the form of 73rd and 74th amendments. And what is the essence of democratic decentralization? Why do we opt for democratic decentralization? It is based on the assumption that people at the lowest level, they know their problems better. They know their problems better. And they can also come out with the solutions better. They can also come out with their solutions better. They know the problems better and they can come out with the solutions better. Right? And that is the reason why we have opted for democratic decentralization as part of 73rd, 74th amendments. As part of 74th amendment, we have created these urban local bodies. You have municipalities, municipal corporations, Nagar panchayats, different forms of urban local bodies are there. And we have tried to focus on 3 things as part of this urban local governments. First one is, planning, that is giving them freedom to formulate their own plans. Second one is creating institutions by conducting elections to urban local bodies, creating institutions. Third one is giving them finances to implement those plans. This is what we have done. Finances. It's been more than 30 years that we have implemented. Yesterday, Indian Express has carried out a very good article. What is that article? It was based on the latest CAG report. Latest CAG report, Comptroller and Auditor General. What did the report says? Out of the 28 states we have, 18 states did not implement the provisions of 74th amendment. 18 states out of the 20. Please remember, when you are writing answers, you should always quote the facts. And what kind of facts? Facts which are available from government sources. CAG report is a very good resource for these facts. 18 states have not implemented the provisions of 74th amendment. They have not implemented the provisions of 74th amendment. 18 states, in terms of functions, in terms of functionaries, and in terms of finances. 18 states have not implemented the provisions of 74th amendment. The latest CAG report, it has said. And what are the other important features of the CAG report? It has said that urban local bodies in India are able to raise 42% of their revenues through their sources, through their internal sources. It can be through tax revenues, it can be through user charges or anything like that. Remaining 58%, they depend on other sources like central government. To put it in perspective here, to put these things in perspective, if you look at United States of America, in United States of America, 70%, more than 70% of the revenues are raised by urban local bodies from their own sources. In United States of America, they are mostly self-sufficient, right? So when we have to discuss about these urban local bodies, we have to talk about the three important things here. One is, what is the problem with institutions? Second, what is the problem with finances? And then we have to find out the solutions. What is the problem with institutions and what is the problem with finances? Let us look at both of them one by one. First we will look at the problems and then we will come out with the solutions. Problem with the institutions. Let us see. Let us try to understand about the problem with the institutions by taking into consideration Delhi. Delhi. I am sure all of you believe that Delhi is urban area. Yes? Very good. This kind of assumptions we have to make. Right? We have to make these kind of assumptions to proceed. So look at Delhi. Right? So let us see who is responsible for development of Delhi. Let us find out who is responsible for development of Delhi. Delhi, as you know, is our national capital. So it is also a union territory. So in case of Delhi, Ministry of Urban Development, being a union territory, national capital, Ministry of Urban Development is responsible for overall development of Delhi. Right? Then we have Ministry of Home Affairs. They are responsible for law and order. Right? They are responsible for law and order. Looking at the institutions, how many institutions are there here? We are looking at. This is the major problem with all urban local bodies in India. We can extrapolate the Delhi to rest of the country. Then Delhi is a union territory, so it has lieutenant governor who has absolute powers. As you know, these lieutenant governors of union territories have more powers than governors of normal states. They have more powers. Then who else is responsible? 69th Amendment to the Constitution has created National Capital Territory of Delhi, and it has a popularly elected government with a separate state legislative assembly. Article 239A and Article 239AA talk about these things. So Delhi has a chief minister and council of ministers. Delhi has a chief minister and council of ministers. They are also responsible for development of Delhi. Right? Then who else? Delhi also has a municipal corporation, MCD, Municipal Corporation of Delhi. Previously, there used to be having three corporations, North Delhi and East Delhi and NDMC. Now they have merged all of them and they call it only as one MCD. So in Delhi you have this mayor of Delhi along with the local councillors. They are also responsible for development of Delhi. Right? Who else? We have development authorities like DDA, Delhi Development Authority is also there, responsible for development of Delhi, DDA. Next, we have what you call them as unifunctional agencies. You have what you call them as unifunctional agencies. What are unifunctional agencies? As the name itself indicates, they perform one single function. For example, in case of Delhi, we have a Delhi Jal Board is there, providing water to Delhi, provided it comes. Provided this water comes. Delhi Jal Board is there. Then we have in Delhi public-private partnerships. Public-private partnerships. Right? For example, electricity is provided, one part of Delhi electricity is provided by Reliance and other part of Delhi provided by Tatas. They are also responsible for development of Delhi. Right? Public-private partnerships. Now, Delhi has something unique, what we call them as resident welfare associations. Resident welfare associations. They are also part of development of Delhi. Then we have a Public Works Department, PWD. That is also part of Delhi development. Right? Then we have Delhi is home to huge number of NGOs. Maximum number of NGOs in the country operate from Delhi. They are also responsible for development of Delhi. Now, so many of them are responsible. Multiple institutions are responsible. The million-dollar question here is, who is accountable? Who is accountable? Who is accountable? The same question was asked by Chief Justice of our country last year, January. What happened last year, January? The pollution levels were so high that, as usual, these kind of grade 3 norms were implemented. Half of the activities were closed. So the Chief Justice had asked the Government of India, Attorney General in Supreme Court, who is accountable for this kind of high levels of pollutions of Delhi? Who is accountable? Delhi Chief Minister has said that I am not accountable because I don't have any powers. Lieutenant Governor, he said that I am not accountable because I am accountable only to the President, not to any Tom, Dick and Harry. Ministry of Environment and Forest, Urban Development, they said that they are not accountable. Because they said that the Delhi pollution is because of stubble burning by Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. And Punjab and Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh were asked, why are you burning the stubble? They said that we will do it, who are you to ask us? Federalism. Central government has said that we cannot do much because we have a federal polity. So finally, who is accountable? Finally, all of them had come to the conclusion that external forces are accountable. Pakistan. No, exactly happened. Pakistan, exactly happened. The government has replied that these northwesterly winds are not coming from Pakistan, because of which pollutants are gathering in the atmosphere and they are not moving in a PM 2.5. They are not moving. So the Chief Justice had asked the government, you mean to say that I should send a notice to Pakistan government? That is what exactly Chief Justice has said. I should be sending notice to the Pakistan government. Why are you stopping northwesterly winds? How did you develop such a great technology that you can stop the winds from flowing also? Recently, Pakistan minister has said that India is responsible because India is stopping the winds. Alright? This is the problem with institutions in India, urban bodies. We have multiple institutions responsible, but no one is accountable. This is the major problem. Multiple institutions are responsible, but no one is accountable. What is the solution? As we proceed, we will see the solution also. You take any city in India, This is the same problem. Within state governments, you have the cabinet ministers in the state government. And you have, in urban local bodies, you have the mayors, you have the councillors, you have the MLAs, you have the MPs, you have public-private partnerships, you have NGOs. Everyone is there, but nobody is accountable. And urban local bodies, they say that we don't have any powers. They don't have any powers. Institutions are there, but they don't have any powers. Because who has all the powers? Ministry of Urban Development, even at the state level. They never transferred power to local bodies. As we have mentioned in the beginning, that out of 28 states, 18 states have not implemented 74th Amendment. Those who have implemented, they have implemented only in letter but not in spirit. That is the reason why the condition of urban cities in India is in such a pathetic condition. Pollution, traffic congestion, and crime, then collapse of infrastructure, unemployment, absence of basic facilities for the people. And is there any single city in India which has a 100% underground drainage system? No. Right? If that is the case, then Chennai should not have any floods. But Chennai gets flooded all the time. Right? You might have them on the paper, but not in reality. Right? In Chennai, you find more water above the ground than under the ground whenever there are floods. And that is the reason why in urban areas, whenever there are floods, people take different types of modes of transportation. They will be traveling in boats. Rich people will be traveling in ships, on roads only. And ultra-rich people, in order to avoid traffic congestion, they will be traveling in submarines. Right? That is where the problem is. But who is accountable? Who is accountable? Is the mayor accountable? Mayor accountable? Do you know what is the name of the mayor of Delhi? Because she had come into news in recent times for wrong reasons. Right? Otherwise, do you know the mayor of the city in which you are coming from? Do you remember? Why? Because they don't have any real powers. They don't have any real powers. Institutions is a major problem. That is the reason why, if you look at it, this year's Economics Nobel Prize is awarded to those economists who have conducted extensive research regarding how these institutions are going to impact economic growth and development. The reason why India is not able to leap forward to higher growth momentum, because we have not created institutions. The best example is urban areas. This is about institutions, right? Have you taken this? Right? Second one is about finances. Finances. As we know, finances are the major problem. Finances are the major problem for any institution, for any organization, more so for urban local bodies. More so for urban local bodies. Why these finances are important? If you go by latest Niti Aayog reports, they say that we require minimum 100 lakh crores of rupees to improve urban infrastructure. How much amount of money? 100 lakh crores. So 100 lakh crores question is, where do you get this money? Not $1 million question. It is $1 trillion question. Where do you get this money? 100 lakh crores. Let us see from where they can get money. The government has started so many flagship schemes for people in urban areas. We have a smart city. We have schemes like Amrut. Amrut means Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. As part of Smart City program, the government would identify 100 cities and each city will be given 100 crores every year. That is 10,000 crores for 5 years. That means 50,000 crores. This is what the central government would be spending. Similarly, as part of Amrut, the government would identify 500 tier 2 and tier 3 towns, and each one will be given 20 crores. So you will have again 10,000 crores, that too over a period of 5 years. So it will be 50,000 crores. Simple mathematics. So 50,000 plus 50,000 crores, how much? 1 lakh crores. Right? And how much amount of money do you need? 100 lakh crores. So what about the remaining small change? 99 lakh crores. Remaining small change. Where do you get this money? Where do you get this money? We need 99 lakh crores to improve urban infrastructure. Where do you get this money? That is the problem with finances. Right? Problem with finances. That is the reason why this question is repeatedly asked by UPSC. So let us see, from where these urban local bodies getting their monies. What are the sources of finances? First and foremost, State Finance Commission recommendations. This is their first source of finances. State Finance Commission recommendations. Just like we have the Central Finance Commission, we also have State Finance Commission that will determine vertical and horizontal devolution of finances between the state governments and local self-governments. We have State Finance Commission recommendations. Second, user charges collected by urban local bodies. What are the user charges that are collected by urban local bodies? They are providing services to the people: drinking water, sanitation, electricity, transportation. For these services, they will be collecting money from the people, what you call user charges. Third, urban local bodies also collect certain taxes. What are the taxes collected by them? Property tax, some kind of octroi, taxes, some kind of professional taxes. This is what they will be getting. After implementation of GST, now you can see that they don't have any power to collect taxes because everything will be decided by the GST Council. Previously, they had some kind of freedom to collect taxes. Now, after implementation of GST, they don't have anything. And they also have something like entertainment tax. Like this, they can collect. Then, what are the other sources of urban local bodies? Financial sources. The next source of urban local bodies is they can also raise money by selling assets. By selling assets. They have land in their locality, some buildings. They can sell those assets or they can rent assets. They can rent assets. You can see in the cities, these big showrooms and malls, they are mostly run by some of these urban local bodies, and they will get a lot of rent from those things. This is another source of revenue. Then what are the other sources of revenue? Central Finance Commission says that monies should be directly given to the local bodies. 5% of tax revenue should be given to the local bodies. Then, what are the other sources for them of revenue? They can also raise loans. They can also raise loans by issuing what you call municipal bonds. By issuing municipal bonds. By issuing municipal bonds. Through public-private partnership, services are provided to the people on behalf of the government by the private sector. Private sector will collect the user charges. Electoral bonds. How can it be a source of revenue for the urban local bodies? No, electoral bonds have nothing to do with urban local bodies. Electoral bonds will be going to only political parties, the money, not to the government. I am buying an electoral bond. I am buying an electoral bond and I will say that I want to donate this money to, say, Congress party or BJP. The money will go to Congress party or BJP, but not to the government. Electoral bonds have nothing to do with revenues of the government. They will be going only to political parties. So they are not. So this municipal bonds, this is another source of revenue. Alright. Now what is the problem with these sources of revenue? What is the problem with these sources of revenue? Again, go back to yesterday's CAG report. So 73rd and 74th amendments were passed in 1992. By 1995, all these urban local bodies had come into existence. Elections were held and urban local bodies had come into existence. And what is the problem here? As part of this 74th amendment, every state government must constitute a state finance commission after every 5 years. They must constitute a state finance commission after every 5 years, like what central finance commission is, so that urban local bodies can have a continuous source of revenues. So 1995 means we are in 2024. That means how many finance commission must have been constituted till now? Six state finance commission should have been constituted. By this time, 7th finance commission must have been constituted also by the state governments. And what CAG report has said that maximum number of states till now have constituted only 2nd or 3rd state finance commission. Maximum number of states have constituted only 2nd or 3rd state finance commission. That is the reason why the report says that 15th finance commission has made it mandatory that if the state governments are not constituting the state finance commission, central government should not devolve funds to the state governments under various centrally sponsored schemes. They should not be giving any kind of funds. And that is the reason why, if you happen to read the newspapers, day before yesterday, Gujarat state government has constituted 4th state finance commission. Gujarat state government has constituted 4th state finance commission. Why? Because the 15th finance commission has recommended to the central government that stop funds to the state governments if they do not constitute finance commissions. This is the major problem. Unlike the central finance commission, which is mandatory for the central government to constitute after every 5 years, this 74th amendment is not mandatory for the state governments. It has given freedom to the state governments to constitute finance commissions. Maximum number of state governments never really bothered to constitute state finance commissions. When there are no state finance commissions, will there be any devolution of tax revenues to the urban local bodies? That is the problem. State governments never really bothered. And the best part of this is that state governments always demand more finances from the central government. That is what we study in center-state relations. Continuous conflict between the central and state governments over finances. State governments have said that you have converted us into glorified municipalities. Punjab State Finance Minister has said that central government has converted us into glorified municipalities because central government is not giving us any funds. But did the state governments really bother to set up finance commission and transfer funds to the urban local bodies? Never. What they say, they will never practice. That is the problem. When you don't have state finance commissions, do you have any kind of funds to urban local bodies? That is the major problem, right? Next problem is taxes, property tax. This should be the major source of revenue for urban local bodies. And what is the problem here? The problem here is competitive populism. That is ruining our local bodies all over the country. What is this competitive populism? When the elections are held to urban local bodies, what the political parties are doing? Political parties, they are making these kind of populistic promises to the people. What is that? They will completely remove property tax. When the elections were held a few years back to Delhi municipality, all political parties, BJP, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, they said that they would write off property tax. Competitive populism. Is it necessary? Delhi is a state with the highest per capita income. Is it necessary to write off property tax? And when you are not collecting taxes, where is the money for you to be spent on infrastructure? That is the problem. Every political party in India is indulging in this kind of a competitive populism. They will not collect any kind of taxes, property taxes. Otherwise, how can you have money also? This is the problem. Next problem is with user charges. Next problem is with user charges. Again, what is the problem here? Again, populism. Provide all kinds of subsidies. Provide all kinds of subsidies. For example, in Delhi itself, the government is giving free electricity and free water. Free electricity and free water. To generate 1 unit of electricity and to provide to a household, it will take minimum 8 rupees for the government. And you are providing free of cost. You are providing free of cost. How will the government recover this cost then? How will they finance them in the budget then? How will they finance? Same is the case with drinking water. Again, coming back here, Delhi is the state with the highest per capita income. Per capita income of an average Delhiite is around 40,000 rupees per month. 4,80,000 rupees or 5 lakh rupees per annum. With a per capita income of 40,000 rupees, can't they pay at least 1,500 rupees of electricity bill? They can pay it. But why are you providing free of cost? Why are you providing free of cost? Populism. If you are not charging money for the services you are providing, how do you finance them? How do you finance them? Every month I'll get my electricity water bill. It says that you have to pay -7 rupees. I keep on asking them, what is this -7 rupees? -7 rupees means, will they be giving me money? Delhi Jal Board? Then what is it? Next bill also -7 rupees. That is where the problem is. Right? Is it necessary to provide these kind of subsidies to undeserving sections of society? Is it necessary? Then do they have any finances? Obviously they don't have. They don't have money. They don't have money to repair the roads during the times of monsoon. They don't have the money to desilt the underground drainage systems. They don't have the money to provide basic amenities to the people. Why? Because you are using all your limited financial resources only to provide populistic subsidies. Please remember, this is the same with all urban local bodies in India. It has spread like a cancer in all other urban local bodies. Every urban local body will say that we are giving free electricity, free drinking water. We will abolish property tax. Then how do you get money? This is where the problem is. Political populism is ruining the finances of our urban local bodies. Right? So these are all the problems. Now let us briefly look at what are the solutions. What are the solutions? Again, these are all mostly academic solutions because they are never implemented. They are never going to be implemented. But if you write all these solutions, you will get into civil services. After getting into civil services, you can forget all these solutions. Right? So let us look at all these solutions. Coming to institutions. As we have said, what is the problem? Multiple institutions are there. All of them are responsible, but no one is accountable. That is where the problem. We have a topic called comparison of constitutions in our polity. Why did UPSC include that topic? Because the objective is to learn from the administrative practices of other countries in the world to improve the efficiency of your own administration. Why are we talking about this? Because this urban development in America, management of local bodies in America, can be the ideal role model for India to improve our institutions. What is it? In United States of America also you have these kind of multiple institutions. But what is the key difference here? In United States of America, if you take any city, the mayor of the city is elected directly by the people. The mayor of the city is elected directly by the people. So what? In India, mayor is elected indirectly by the councillors. In America, mayor is elected directly by the people. So what is so great about it? The greatness is that all other institutions within the city limits must be working under the control and guidance of the mayor. This is the key difference. All other institutions within the city limits, they should be working under the control and guidance of the mayor. What do you mean by that? I'll just give you one example. September 11, 2001, terror attacks. September 11, 2001, terror attacks on New York City. Right? After that, every year Time magazine in America comes out with their cover page at the end of the year, Person of the Year. Who was named the Person of the Year by the Time magazine? The Person of the Year was the mayor of New York City. They did not say American president. The mayor of New York City. Why? After this terror attacks took place, even American president, whom we consider the most powerful person on this earth, has to work under the control and guidance of the mayor. That is what urban management in America. Mayor is directly elected by the people, and the buck stops with the mayor. That means ultimately mayor will be held accountable for whatever that happens in the city. And when you are making mayor accountable, you should give him all kinds of powers. That is the reason why in United States of America, in their city management, even the President of America has to work under the mayor. That is the kind of administration they have. Can you ever imagine these things in India? Mayor of Delhi controlling the Prime Minister? That is the reason why urban development in India is not good. Let in India also, we have a situation wherein mayor is directly elected. All the institutions which are working within the city limits, they must all of them be working under one single head, that is the mayor, and make him accountable. Authority and responsibility should always go together. And that is what the solution to problems of institutions. And give all powers to the institution, urban local bodies. Let the central government departments, state government departments, public-private partnerships, private sector, everything, NGOs, let all of them be working under this urban local body, which is headed by either the chairman of municipality or the mayor of municipal corporation, so that he can ensure better coordination between all of them, so that accountability can be fixed. Very, very simple solution. Can you ever imagine the state chief minister working under mayor? Can you ever imagine Prime Minister of the country working under Delhi mayor? Everyone is responsible, but nobody is accountable because none of them have real powers. And those who have powers will never be made accountable. And that is the solution to improve the functioning of institutions. Right? Then come to finances. What should we do? Come to finances. As we have seen the problems, we can easily come out with the solutions. As I have said, 100 lakh crores is what we require. Right? And we have only 1 lakh crores through various schemes to improve urban infrastructure. What about remaining amount of money? How do you get it? If you look at it, in the government of India, we have so many central public sector enterprises. And these central public sector enterprises are having huge amount of land at their disposal. For example, who has a maximum amount of land? Ministry of Railways. They have huge amount of land. And what is happening here? Thanks to increase in population, the demand for land is going up and the prices are also going up. Right? What the central government can do? They can sell this land, what is called asset monetization program. The government has already started it. National Asset Monetization Program, NAMP. Take all this money, put this money in an account, escrow account. That means the money cannot be used for any other purpose. And use that money to improve urban infrastructure. For example, BSNL. Even that is incurring losses. Do you know what is the value of land owned by BSNL in all the cities? More than 6 lakh crores all over the country. You know, it is still lying very idle land. You can sell this land. Use that money to finance urban infrastructure. Use that money. The government can easily raise huge amounts of money by selling this kind of land of a public sector enterprise. For example, in Mumbai, these jute mills have a huge amount of land. They are not functioning now. They are closed, but they have huge amount of land. That land can be sold. It can be used to finance urban local bodies. As I said, we need how much? 100 lakh crores. 100 lakh crores. one of the best solutions. Please remember, all these solutions have been provided by the government sources only. That is the reason why you can write them blindly. Alright? These sources are from Ministry of Urban Development annual reports or Niti Aayog reports. This is where you get all these solutions. Then how else can you improve urban finances? Next thing we say is that it should be made mandatory for all state governments to constitute state finance commissions on time. It should be made mandatory for all state governments to constitute state finance commission. Like 15th Finance Commission has finally said it. And that is the reason why 2 days back, Gujarat state government has constituted the 4th State Finance Commission, because otherwise they will not be receiving funds from the central government. And then next solution is, in the state government budgets, there must be a separate window. In the state government budget, there must be a separate window for local bodies. There must be a separate window for local bodies. What do you mean by that? There must be a separate window for local bodies. What do we mean by that? If you look at the budgets, you have different heads. Amount of money given to agriculture, education, health, right? Budget has this kind of, on food security, on corruption. Sorry, last one is not explicitly mentioned, but it is part of it, right? So, in the same manner, there must be a separate window for local bodies, so that these urban local bodies and rural local bodies can come to know about what is the amount of money they are going to get from the state government in that particular year, so that they can come out with their plans in a more systematic manner. Unless and until you know how much amount of money you are going to get, is it possible for you to formulate your plans? Never. That is the reason why in the recommendation is that the state governments should be having a separate window in their budgets to be given to local bodies. Next solution is rationalization of user charges. Next solution is rationalization of user charges. As I said, why should rich people be given all these subsidies? Why should rich people be given a free education, free health, free electricity, free drinking water, free drainage? Let them pay for it, so that you can drastically reduce your expenditure, and they can also raise good amount of money through user charges. Rationalization of user charges. Let these local bodies charge minimum the cost of production, the cost of providing services. Next solution we provide here is, all these urban local bodies in India must adopt accrual based accounting systems. To ensure financial transparency. Financial transparency. Right now, we have only what is called cash-based accounting systems. To ensure financial transparency. Why this is important? Because if you are going to the market by issuing what you call municipal bonds, if you are going to the market by issuing municipal bonds, when will the investor buy your bonds? Only when there is transparency in your financial transactions. And that is the reason why they said that they must adopt this kind of accounting systems. Those who have studied commerce, they know the difference between cash-based and accrual-based accounting systems, right? then they can attract money through municipal bonds. Next thing urban local bodies can do is they can sell unutilized assets. In their city limits, they can sell unutilized assets. And use that money to finance infrastructure. Urban infrastructure. They can use that money to finance urban infrastructure. Next, what can they do? They can also look for loans from multilateral institutions. Multilateral institutions like World Bank, Asian Development Bank, BRICS Bank, to finance their infrastructure. To finance their infrastructure. To finance their infrastructure. Right? They can look for loans here. So obviously, when it comes to any external loan, you have to get the permission from the central government. You know, if you are an urban local body, you come out with a proper plan regarding how you are going to utilize the loan, the central government can always give permission regarding how you are going to spend the monies and how you are going to repay the loans on time. That requires what you call good governance. There must be transparency and accountability. That is the reason why we said accrual-based accounting systems. This is another solution that can solve their financial problems. Next solution is urban local bodies must maximize their resource mobilization. They must maximize their resource mobilization by collecting all the taxes. By collecting all taxes. As I said, property tax, entertainment tax, octroi charges. They must collect all their taxes. They should not be indulging in political populism. Right? So this is what the solution to finances. So these are the solutions to both institutions and finances. As I said, a very, very important topic. The questions can be repeatedly asked in all our 4 papers of general studies.